Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore coming at ya. And so I'm going to be doing today's video, and the answer is yes. Devin got a third word having to do with the finances, and the word that he got, it was really funny because he came in after he did his last video and told me, he was like, yeah, I was having people guess, is God gonna do a third video? And he was just talking about it, but then instantly in that moment he ended up getting the word cash out, and it was just like, all right, okay, Lord, I guess you have a third video. But we were really just kind of like, all right, let's just pray about this. Let's keep, you just want to keep an open hand with whatever you're hearing and just allow God to continue to grow it. And so we ended up talking about it a little bit at our God time, but then even after God time, the two of us were praying about it, and I was really feeling like I was getting some revelation as what God meant with this cash out. And so when you're talking about cashing out, it's basically, a lot of times they say it's with the stock markets or bonds, something that you have of value, but it's non-cash. You can then cash it out. So if you have stocks that are doing really well and you decide, all right, I want to sell my stocks, then you can receive the payment of that. And you have the cash, which now you can do what you want with it. And so as we were praying and talking about it, I really felt like God was talking about, as far as how does this word apply to us as believers? Lord, what are you saying, especially for our family? God, what are you saying with this as far as the cash out? And I believe it had to do with faith. And God was reminding me of how, if you go to a family fun center or someplace like that where you get tickets for games, you play the arcade games, or you play all those different things. They give you tickets if you win, but then you take all your tickets at the end and you cash them. You bring them and you get a prize in return, because you've given them the tickets. Now they say you have 318 tickets, and now you can get a little toy of some kind. So you've cashed them out, and now you've received something that you can actually have and obtain and use. And I really felt like God was saying, he is getting ready to cash out our faith, meaning that God has been investing. All of these have to do with investment and what God's been investing into our hearts. And God's like, I have been investing by faith into your hearts. Every dream, every vision, all of these things that you are storing up within you, you're holding fast to. Now you have to hold fast. That was part of it. It was if you're given something, if you think of faith as a ticket, it's you want to hold fast to that so that when the time comes for you to cash it out, you might receive the prize of that faith. And so just like with Abraham, he received the reward of his faith. He held fast to his faith, and then the reward came when he received Isaac, his son. And so we want to, in that way, continue to press in, hold on to the faith that God has given us to, or hold on to everything that God has given us to believe by faith. And there's going to come this time when God's like, all right, it's time to cash out all of your faith, meaning you're now going to have the ability to go forward and receive the very thing that you have been believing for. And another example that I was thinking about was, actually, we have this vision where there's this apple tree, and the apple tree represents all of the really desires of the heart, but also things that God has promised us. And so there's, every promise is like an apple. And there comes this moment where in this vision, Jesus comes to the tree and he shakes the tree and all the apples fall. And I felt like that was a great example of this cashing out. Everything just boom, here you go. Now you have the apples. You just pick them up off the ground. You have them. You've received them. It's no longer waiting or holding on to something until you can receive it, because now you actually have it. And one of the other things that I felt like the Lord was showing me even this morning was the sense of the peak season, or this peak moment. If you have a stock, you want to wait until you believe it's at its peak before you cash out, because then you get the greatest return. And I feel like there's this sense of the Lord saying, like, he knows that perfect season and time, particularly for our faith and everything that he's filled us up with, that it's like, all right, now it's time to cash it out. Meaning you're going to have the ability to go forward and receive every single word that God has promised. And because we've held fast, we know what to go after. We know what to pursue with the Lord. And so that's really kind of what I had to share with you guys. And so this is about the cash out word, and it really just falls right in line with the 401k and yesterday's word.
ROI.
ROI, because I totally forgot. And then this one is cash out. And so I just feel like, when God is speaking, it's like he's speaking in threes, and threes can be that confirmation, and it really gives shape. And what I really receive from all three of these is God is saying he has invested and he's going to receive the return. We have invested in the Lord, therefore we're going to receive and harvest all of the words that God has sown in us. We are going to receive the fruits of the labor. And that is who God is. He invests and he receives back. Just like the scripture says, Isaiah 55:11, like, no word from the Lord is going to return void. And so everything he's put in us, he's going to receive the return of that. And when it comes to promises, it's the fulfillment of that word that we're going to receive. And so with that, guys, I do pray that you are blessed and that you're encouraged, and that you continue to believe and continue to hold fast to everything that God has promised you. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye.